One of the most intriguing questions I often receive is about the fate of the 12 tribes of Israel. Did they truly vanish from history? Today I invite you to watch this video until the very end as we explore not only the theories surrounding the so-called lost tribes, but also the possible clues and evidence that may reveal where they've been hidden for centuries. Get ready for a fascinating journey through the mystery of the 12 tribes of Israel. If you're curious about this biblical enigma, don't forget to leave a like and share this video with friends and family. You won't want to miss this. After the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, they journeyed towards the promised land of Canaan, the inheritance God had promised Abraham. Yet over time, the Israelites strayed, disobeying the laws and commandments God had given to Moses. Their disobedience had dire consequences. In the book of Leviticus, we find the judgments that God imposed on Israel after they departed from Egypt. God had made a great covenant with the Israelites, commanding them to follow his instructions and worship him alone, without mingling with other nations and their cultures, gods, or languages. Leviticus 26:17 states, "I will set my face against you, and you shall be struck down before your enemies. Those who hate you shall rule over you, and you shall flee when no one pursues you." This verse describes one of the punishments God inflicted, delivering his people into the hands of their enemies. As a result, the tribes of Israel became prey to surrounding nations, their territory overtaken, and their identity absorbed into foreign cultures. In verse 25, God says, "I will bring a sword upon you that shall execute the vengeance of the covenant, and when you gather in your cities, I will send pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy." When the tribes of Israel abandoned their covenant with God, turning to idolatry, God handed them over to rival nations that sought to conquer them. This is recorded in history, and the final kings of Israel, as described by the prophet Hosea, were illegitimate rulers who led the people astray. With the supposed disappearance of the 12 tribes, many theories have emerged. One theory suggests the lost tribes traveled to the Americas and became the ancestors of indigenous peoples. However, this theory has been thoroughly debunked both biblically and genetically. Studies show that indigenous peoples of the Americas have ancestry rooted in East Asia and Siberia, with no genetic or cultural ties to the Middle East. Some claim that Africans might be descendants of the lost tribes, but this too lacks evidence. Historians like Flavius Josephus stated that African peoples descended from Ham, not the Israelites. The Ethiopian Jews, often cited in this discussion, are descendants of Cush, one of Ham's sons, and their Jewish ancestry is distinct from that of the lost tribes. There are also European theories, such as the claim that the British or Anglo-Saxons are descendants of the Israelites. This theory misinterprets the Hebrew scriptures and has no historical or genetic basis. The notion that Jews with red hair are of British descent stems from a mistranslation. The original Hebrew described King David as reddish, referring to his complexion, not his hair. Despite all these theories, genetics and biblical scholarship have shown that the lost tribes of Israel are not to be found in the Americas, Africa, or Europe. Instead, the Bible provides clear evidence that these tribes were relocated to regions like Assyria and other areas in the Middle East. In 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6, we read, "In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria and deported the Israelites to Assyria. He settled them in Hala in Gozan on the Habor River, and in the towns of the Medes. Many of these Israelites were absorbed into the Assyrian and Syrian populations, while others were scattered throughout the region. Over time, these tribes became part of a melting pot of cultures, with subsequent conquests by the Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, and eventually the Arabs. But what about the New Testament? Did the tribes of Israel completely disappear by that time? Not quite. We find references to people from various tribes, like Anna, a prophetess from the tribe of Asher, mentioned in Luke 2:36. The Apostle Paul, from the tribe of Benjamin, also represents another example, These instances suggest that some members of the tribes survived and continue to play significant roles in biblical history. Many people today wonder whether these tribes will be rediscovered and saved. The New Testament teaches that through Jesus Christ, a new Israel was born, one that encompasses all believers. As Paul writes, "In Christ there is no Jew or Greek." God's plan of salvation is for all humanity, not just the descendants of the 12 tribes. As we continue this journey, remember that God's purpose extends beyond one ethnicity or nation. His promise of salvation is available to everyone who accepts Christ, regardless of their heritage. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the Bible's greatest mysteries. May God bless you, and I'll see you soon on our next adventure into the Scriptures.